between the realm of the dead and the journeys of the living. Join Josh, Jamie, and Elisa as they delve into the vast world of the paranormal and breathe life back into the history of the departed.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Elisa.
And we are bringing you guys yet another fun and spooky set of stories.
You had to pause that long to think of the word spooky?
Yes.
Gotcha.
He's going for a dramatic effect.
The dramatic pause.
Could I be any more dramatic?
Please don't.
All right. So, when I bring up Wisconsin, what do you think of?
Cold. So.
Somewhere I don't want to live.
That's fair.
No thanks.
I always think of cheese.
No, that's true, but I don't like Wisconsin cheese personally. Maybe I just haven't had the right Wisconsin cheese.
That could be.
But some of the Wisconsin cheese I have is just kind of like, it's not bad, but it's not like, wow, this is the best cheese ever.
Yeah, I prefer Wisconsin cheese over most other cheese. Probably because I've had it for 20-some years.
Okay, and that's fair. Whereas I've been like Tillamook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
same.
And so Tillamook cheddar and Tillamook cheeses are ranked number one for me for just like everyday sort of cheeses.
Right. See,
and welcome to the Cheese Podcast.
Yes, right. Welcome to the cheese. Well, the reason why I say cheese is because for a while I lived in the Twin Cities, and it's right close to the border with Wisconsin. And so when you drive into Wisconsin from the Twin Cities, the first gas station you find, there's this giant sign that says cheese. And in tiny little letters underneath it, gas.
Cheese is going to give you gas?
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of cheese will give you a little bit of gas.
So if you haven't figured out, we are going to the state of Wisconsin, into a town that probably most everybody hasn't heard of.
Okay.
And what is this?
Yeah, so
Keep going. Sorry.
He's like, you guys are ruining it.
No, we're adding some entertainment to it.
So I'm that boring already. Gotcha.
Let's go.
All right, so we're going to go to Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Is that really how you say it, Baraboo?
I don't know, that's how it's spelled. Baraboo. Baraboo. Baraboo.
Baraboo. I've heard it both ways.
But it's got boo in it, so obviously it's spooky to begin with.
Right up our alley.
Yes. So it was first settled in 1838. The city, which would eventually be known as Circus City. It quickly underwent explosive growth for its time. Within about 40 years, it went from settlement to village to town to city.
Yeah, it's pretty quick to kind of go through a lot of that.
Yeah. Officially recognized in 1882, the city already begun laying its foundations for its future nickname, because in 1878, a 9-member family by the last name of Ringling moved to town.
Ringling?
It was originally Ringling.
They changed it. Ooh, okay. Do tell.
They decided to leave their home in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin. And if I probably really messed that one up.
We always seem to mispronounce things. But it's no different than people here trying to pronounce Tooele. And
Thule.
we did the same thing when we moved here. Josh and I called it Thule.
Everybody calls it Thule.
Or
it's Tooele.
Or pull you up in Washington.
It's Puyallup.
It is spelled pull you up.
Yep, but it's pronounced Puyallup. Yeah.
All right, so they made their permanent residence within the future city of Baraboo, and for those who are not very good at their 19th and 20th century Midwestern American history of notable individuals. If the name sounds familiar, it's more than likely because you are associating it with the much more famous slogan, "The greatest show on earth."
Ding, 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 ding.
Their name was changed from Rungling to Ringling.
Ring-a-ling-ling.
Ring-a-ling-ling-ling, rung-rung.
So officially established in 1884, the Ringling Brothers Circus called Baraboo its headquarters from the start. Originally created in 1882 by 5 of the 7 brothers.
The other two were like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah,
It's like a family affair.
exactly.
Yeah.
A small variety show which toured around Wisconsin and performed in various town halls and meeting spaces. The small show eventually brought in enough money which allowed the brothers to purchase a donkey, a trick pony, a bear, and matching suits.
So was the matching suits for like one of the brothers and the bear?
And the pony.
And
The pony. The trick pony.
So it wasn't just 2 pairs matching suits, it was matching suits across the board.
Yes. I'm assuming, it does not say, but I am assuming that's exactly what it is.
I mean, that's the picture I'm creating in my head, so.
Yes. This influx of cash allowed the brothers to officially grow into a modest one-ring show from then on out, which was also known as the Ringling Brothers Variety Performance Show. A little long.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. Which then became widely known as the Ringling Brothers Circus. Word quickly spread about the entertainment of the show provided, and positive word of mouth brought even more fans into their ever-growing tent. So they still haven't really taken it on the road outside of Wisconsin yet. They're still...
Well, no, they're in the beginning phases of it. I mean, it's a 1-ring circus.
Exactly. Not a 3-ring.
Not a 3-ring yet.
So still a tiny tent.
Yes, tiny tent.
Eventually, the brothers had enough income which allowed them to purchase another competitor circus, the Yankee Brothers Circus, in 1884, and grew even larger. During this prosperous time, and with the addition of the final 2 brothers joining the business, it seemed that everything the brothers touched turned to gold. And this risky business venture ultimately ended up putting even more cash into their pockets. 4 years later, in 1884, with 7 well-stocked bank accounts and a newly purchased elephant, the brothers decided to take their show across the country and started traveling to other states via the railroad. This, of course, though, brought about the attention of other big names within the highly popular circus world at the time, and plans were quickly being formulated to establish circus boundaries. Sounds like the circus mafia.
Right? This is my territory.
You stay here, well, you stay there.
Well, and it's like, we've got 7 banks, like 7 bank accounts.
7 bank accounts.
So it's like, track our money.
Yeah.
You know, like the mafia, like, we've got hidden accounts across seas. It's like, no, we have 7 bank accounts.
Come get us.
I can't believe what it would take to get an elephant. Because
Where did they get a bear?
a bear
You can get a cub here, but like, we don't have elephants in America that are just wild.
Yeah.
I mean, but with 7 bank accounts, I'm sure they could ship one easily.
Yeah, either from India or Africa.
Wrap it up.
Well,
take it.
I bet one of them had to take a ship across,
Yeah.
buy
likely.
it, and then.
Broker a deal with the local people, and
Can you imagine being the ship that had to carry that elephant back? Oh, it would
Who
stink.
cleans out that box?
I was gonna say it would stink so bad.
That would be bad.
that's why the other 2 brothers came in. They're the elephant wranglers.
Yeah.
One such name that was well aware of the Ringling Brothers' success was that of James Anthony Bailey,
Ooh. Oh.
business partner to P.T. Barnum and co-owner of the well-known Barnum and Bailey Circus. While the history between the Ringlings and Bailey and Barnum is deep, we're not going to we'll just touch briefly on it.
Well, yeah, we don't have to go into everything.
Yeah, the history of the circus is actually...
It's extensive.
Yeah.
It's very, very extensive. There's a lot.
There's a lot to it. It's interesting, though, because when you think about... I mean, the circus is unfortunately gone now. The circuses are gone. But really, it was about entertainment.
Well, yeah.
That's really all they were. And the
Well,
that's
yeah.
really all they were. And the highlight for some of these cities was when the circus train showed up.
Of course. It was a big thing.
Yeah. It was huge.
Yeah.
During a meeting between the various circus kings, an agreement was made between the two parties on which areas and venues within the country each respected circus was allowed to set up shop. Barnum and Bailey held the rights to play in some of the larger venues, such as Madison Square Garden, and for their agreement to the terms, the Ringlings were allowed to purchase a share of the Adam Forepaugh Sells Brothers Circus.
Holy crap, that's a lot.
That's a lot of name.
That one.
There's probably a reason.
Which was originally owned by Bailey. Later on in 1906, James Anthony Bailey passed away, and the Ringlings were able to purchase the entirety of the Forepaugh Sells Brothers Circus. A year later, in 1907, the remaining stockholders of Barnum and Bailey Circus officially allowed the Ringling Brothers to purchase this circus as well. So once the sale was complete, the brothers were able to set up their big top tents wherever they wished. So they actually...
They were taken over.
Yeah.
They were taken over.
Quickly, too.
Yeah. 20 years.
Yeah.
Ish. So now the history of the Ringling Brothers and their super deep circus roots is actually really fascinating. And so, like, if you're a fan of history, I would recommend really looking into it because they're not a circus family by nature. Their dad did other things. And in fact, Albrecht was the oldest, and he taught himself to juggle and to do tricks and stuff like that. And that's how all of this stuff started.
Oh, that's cool.
So, like, there's a really neat, deep history of it. Highly recommend looking into it if you're interested in it.
Yeah.
Now, while they were eventually able to set up shop anywhere, Wisconsin was always their home. So Baraboo served as their unofficial circus headquarters. And as a result of their success, other small circuses began to pop up in the area as well. So in 1891, the Ringling Brothers Circus got its start. 7 years later, in 1898, John Robinson Circus decided to try and make its mark on the scene as well, all starting in the area. And these were just two of the lesser-known circuses that started. There was actually like 5 that started in Baraboo itself.
Well, once you see somebody being successful in something, it's easy to copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, everyone is coming into Baraboo. And so with them comes all this chaotic energy, and regardless of how they started or who owned the circuses at the time, there was just an overflow of performers of all shapes and sizes in the area, various buildings, each with different purposes. The place was constantly under construction. And typically this energy...
Oh, that seems like Utah.
Right?
Right.
It really is, because Utah was the gateway to the West. Everyone going to the gold fields came through Utah, either north or south. And
it's
so
like I-15 has never stopped being under construction.
Well, right. And yeah, and now you have I-15, right? Everybody who's going to Vegas,
mm-hmm.
if they're coming from the north, is going through Utah.
Yep.
Just to get here, we went down to 2 lanes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah. So typically this energy would move with the circus as it traveled from train station to train station, never having a permanent home, never stopping. But sometimes, as the following story will count, the energy decides to stick around and make its presence known in the most of chaotic possible ways. So we're going to do a nice, fun circus ghost story.
Here we go.
This actually made the news. It actually was published in a newspaper in Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, that's back then?
Yeah, in 1930.
And I'm sure that was not a very common thing to talk about in the newspaper.
No. Nope. So one thing to remember before I get into the story is that not only are all of these circus things are here, the reason why it was called Circus City is the Ringling Brothers. This is where their winter home was. So at the end of every successful circus season, they would come back here. They would walk their elephants, walk their camels, repair their equipment, make new acts. All of this stuff is happening on the streets of Wisconsin. So
How cool for everybody to be there to watch. Hopefully
Right?
they were good to their animals.
They sounded amazing, actually.
Okay, that's good.
I hope so, because there's nothing worse to me than hearing about people mistreating their animals.
I
Right.
just think of an elephant in the wintertime. They're not acclimated to that.
No,
They have no
absolutely
fur.
not. Yep.
They have no fur.
I mean, I guess on the little bush end of their tail, but like other than that.
That's not going to do a whole lot.
Yeah, so there were many buildings that they built to house the animals, because they also had lions and tigers.
And bears?
Oh my. And so obviously, like, you have to walk all of the hay eating animals and keep them fed and exercised and stuff like that. And then you've got the carnivores that you got to keep fed and away from the hay eating animals.
Yep.
You know, the last thing you want is a tiger getting into your horses, because that's
Like your zebras and stuff.
yeah, that's going to cause problems.
Slightly.
So our ghost story begins January 1st, 1930, in a house located on 8th Street in Baraboo. It was on this day that the widowed Miss Rose Holliday,
That's me.
her daughter Alice Green, and Alice's husband Patrick all moved into their newly rented home, which had been their long dream house of Rose since before her husband had died many years prior. The old home was a modest size, possessed 5 rooms in total. 2 bedrooms were located upstairs, while a kitchen, dining room, and living room were located downstairs. Situated off the back of the house was an old barn that hadn't been formerly used since the days of the circus. While a tad run down, Patrick and Alice had plans to eventually turn it into a tire repair shop and make enough money to purchase the home outright. The old woman felt like she had won the lottery when she and her daughter and son-in-law were able to move in. Full of energy, the 3 family members quickly moved their belongings into the old structure and were able to complete their task before nightfall. That is quick to move in.
Well, I'm sure back then they didn't have like a ton of stuff like we do now.
That's true. They didn't have 7 TVs to move in.
Oh, geez, no kidding.
7 TVs, 20 monitors, 6 computers.
All the miscellaneous, unnecessary stuff.
Exactly. When all the moving was said and done, Mrs. Holliday decided she was going to retire to bed early and would finish organizing her room the following day. So with her cot set up for the night in the living room, see, there you go. No, not even a bed. They just got a cot on the floor.
Well, back then their beds were different than ours.
Yeah, she's going to set it up the next day. Leave her alone.
She's
Get off her back,
got to weave that bed together.
She's got to tighten the ropes down and everything. Jeez. Give her some space.
Unfortunately, located directly beneath Alice and Patrick's room, the old woman drifted off into what she hoped would be a restful sleep. But unlucky for her, she would quickly find out that her dream home was actually a nightmare, and the chaos would begin on the very first night. As Mrs. Holliday walked through dreamland, safe and happy, inside her new abode, she was suddenly awoken by the faint sound of moving, audible enough to be recognized as something moving around, but not clear enough to either recognize the sound or pinpoint the location. Sounds like rats.
Possibility.
It was as if the sound was both distant and all around her at once. As the old woman listened in the darkness, she began to tell herself that the cause of the strange sound simply had to be mice. The house was old, so it was well within reason to assume that some sort of small creature had found its way inside to escape the cold winter conditions outside. Satisfied with her assumption, the widow attempted to fall back asleep, but then the sounds got louder. What was once thought to be the noises of a scurrying mouse soon began to manifest themselves in other parts of the house. The ceiling beams began to creak. The wooden floors began to squeak. Soon the volume of noises taking place inside the home were too much to bear, and the old woman was nearing her breaking point when suddenly a series of loud thumps echoed through the home and proceeded to shake the house to its foundation.
Oh, wow.
That's a little frightening.
Right? Immediately after that, the noises stopped and the house fell silent. All that could be heard was the winter wind howling outside. Rattled but still exhausted, Mrs. Holliday convinced herself that there had to be some logical explanation and vowed to solve it the next day. It wasn't long after that she drifted back off to sleep.
Well, it makes me wonder because we get 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts at our house.
And the house will pop and creak.
It'll pop and creak and the windows will shake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they're having wind that night,
right,
why couldn't it be something like that?
Oh, it very well could be.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if that could have crossed your mind.
It could have. I mean, but you would think, though, that if you heard noises at first thinking it was a mouse.
Like a scurrying or something.
And then it increased.
And then
it parts
yeah.
of the house.
You would know that something was different.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder, too, is if anybody, like the daughter and stuff upstairs,
did they
hear it? You know?
It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
From what the story's saying.
So the next morning, she was sure she had discovered the cause of the late night noises. She believed the ruckus was caused by her daughter and son-in-law while having some sort of argument during the night.
Was it an argument?
They were loud.
Or was it something else?
The noises were obviously the result of them stomping back and forth upstairs and pacing through the home in the darkness.
So it was that kind of loud?
Yeah. Like
That's
shaking.
wild.
You're talking about shaking the rafters and shaking the house.
That's wild.
For Mrs. Holliday, that was the logical answer to the mystery.
Well, and after you've actually had some sleep and then you go back and you think about it and it's like more of a distant memory, like it's still there, but it's not fresh.
Yep.
It's easy to be like, oh, that must have been it.
Right.
Must have been them.
But she approached the couple and asked them about it, which they vehemently denied that there was any altercation and even turned the questioning back around on the old woman. The young man and woman had also heard the noises during the night and assumed that the cause of the strange noises were the results of Mrs. Holliday moving her furniture around in the middle of the night.
Oh.
When Rose understandably denied the allegation made against her, the three were left without an answer and all agreed that they just had an odd night in their new home, and it was simple as that.
Well, it's like when you move into a new house, you don't know the creaks and the weirdness that's
right.
Each house has.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it's like when you go to Fort Douglas Military Museum, and you're investigating in the night, and those beams are popping, and it's loud.
It does get loud.
So a few days later, when the neighbors showed up, things got even stranger. On January 3rd, the neighbors from each side, a Mrs. Bemis and a Mrs. Bartz, arrived at the old home for tea and conversation.
I wish we did stuff like that still.
Come over for a spot of tea and some conversation.
Well, yeah, we just don't, do we? We're just not neighborly like that anymore.
No.
Well,
most people now don't even know their neighbors.
No. Like, we don't know, and it's not for lack of trying. Like, we've talked to our neighbors here on the end, and they were friendly enough, but they're just not very social, and that's okay. And then the neighbor, I think he's a divorced dad, and gets his kids on the weekend, And Josh waved to him the other day, and the guy didn't even he's just...
Yeah, nothing. We made eye contact.
Yeah. And he just is like... So, it's unfortunate. It kind of makes me sad.
Yeah. So while their topics remained mostly in the camp of mundane, eventually the two neighboring women shifted the course of talk towards the odd. As if just to get the subject off her chest and get it in, Mrs. Bemis abruptly asked Mrs. Holliday if the family was keeping a horse in the former barn turned garage. Confused by the question, the old widow politely informed her neighbor that the family had no such horse, and as they were trying to save for a new automobile and could not afford the purchase or upkeep of an animal as large as a horse, Mrs. Holliday then asked Mrs. Bemis why she would assume the family had a horse, which is kind of the logical sense of questioning. Yeah. It's like, okay, we can't afford a horse. Why do you think we have a horse?
What gave you the idea? Yeah.
Well, the response Mrs. Bemis gave was that the previous night, long after the sun gone down, she was looking out her kitchen window to check to see if it was snowing. During her peek through the glass, she caught the sight of what appeared to be a giant dark shape in the distance near the old home. Assuming that the new neighbors were going to be keeping horses, she found it odd that they would be allowed to be wandering outside the barn, especially one so large as what she had seen.
So, is it really a horse she thinks she saw, or was it like the phantom ghost of like another animal, larger animal? Because, I mean, was it like a Clydesdale type horse? Like, what made her think it was an actual horse? Because she said it was very large.
Probably because that's where your reasoning goes.
Yeah, it's like the pareidolia where your mind instantly takes you to something that you can recognize and you can reason away.
Yeah. And when you see a giant shape in the dark, thinking that your neighbors have horses, it's obviously a horse.
Come on. We all know it was Bigfoot.
It was Bigfoot. After a few moments of watching, Mrs. Bemis said the shape turned and moved through the snow back towards the old barn. The night was very dark, but she could clearly see the even darker shape moving across the open land and entering back into the barn. Not sure how to convince the two women that they did not, in fact, have a horse out back, Mrs. Holliday told the women to follow her out back. When they arrived outside, the old woman pointed out the snow filling the space between the houses and the barn was undisturbed, and that no large animal could have walked through it without leaving some sort of tracks. Satisfying with the lack of any evidence leaning in favor of a large animal having been present in the yard, the three women dropped the subject and returned back inside to finish their tea.
It was Bigfoot on a hoverboard. No tracks. See, I solved it.
Perfect.
That sucker was floating.
Had to be.
Float like a butterfly,
no
sting like a bee.
Snow undisturbed.
Yep. It's just it's interesting though, because it's like I think that's probably the way to do it, right? Is just to say, hey, come on, look at this. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
But it is strange. I mean, we've experienced this before, investigating in the dark, seeing a shadow in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's darker than dark. It's weird. That's the only way I know how to explain it. It's darker than dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what this woman saw, is a shadow in the dark.
Because I feel like there's always some type of light.
Yeah, there's a little something that you can see.
In general, wherever you go, there's like some type of light.
Yeah.
But then when you see something that has zero light,
it's obvious.
It's obvious. You can tell.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange.
It is a strange feeling when you see something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sends tingles.
Yes. So the next night, on January 4th, the strange sounds once again fill the old home on 8th Street. Unlike their presence the first night in the home, the noises increased to a volume that did not allow for any sleep to even be attempted that night.
So it's definitely trying to make its presence known, whatever it is.
Yes. All 3 family members remained wide awake, listening to what sounded like a sledgehammer slamming against the outside of the house.
Holy cow.
The noise was said to be so loud that even other residents within the neighborhood were able to hear it as well.
Holy cow. I wonder if they thought, like, who the heck are these people?
Right?
What are they doing? Like doing house construction in the middle of the night?
Are they trying to knock their walls down? Come on.
It was assumed at one point by the family that the source of the sound outside the home must be caused by some of the other neighbors who wished them to leave the area for some particular reason. It was learned by the family that a few members of the community originally thought them to be bootleggers when they moved into the old home back on the 1st. Which makes sense. We're talking the 1930s, Prohibition. So we're kind of, in that era. The reason for this being that that Prohibition was going on. And the strange sounds they were hearing were emanating from the home were soon to be the result of building a still in the old barn.
Oh. So you think the little lady and her daughter and son-in-law are running a bootleg business down there? Yeah.
Now, this was cleared up by the family, but some residents were not so inclined to believe them.
Bring them in the house and show them.
Yep.
Bring them to the barn. Let them look for the hidden still in the barn.
It's like, hey, you want to spend the night in the barn? Go for it.
Want some hooch? Some free hooch, too, while you're at it?
Well, that's what they're trying to prove they're not doing.
That's true. 2 days later, on January 6th, the family awoke from a surprisingly quiet night. No strange noises had permeated the darkness of the old home. No loud bangs had struck the outside of the structures, and no booms had rattled the 4 walls that the 3 family members had dwelled within. It was as if whatever was plaguing the family had decided to finally leave them in peace. With a newfound energy and a feeling of refreshment, Mrs. Holliday arose from her bed, walked to the window to take in the sights of the morning. But when she arrived there, she discovered that the night had not been as uneventful as originally thought. For there in the backyard, now just a pile of rubble and flattened boards, was the old barn, which stood so steadfast only a few hours before. This sight being the final straw, the old widow ran downstairs and called the chief of police himself, August Marlowe.
That would be so devastating.
That would be very tough.
Yeah.
Because those aren't cheap. And if they tried so hard to get this house, they're not going to be able to afford to
build a barn.
Reconstruct a barn.
Yeah. And they're just renting.
Oh, they're just renting?
They're just renting. At this point in time, they're just renting. They're hoping to maybe buy the house later, but they were going to turn the barn into a business.
Yeah.
So they could afford to buy the house.
Right.
But now, with no barn, there's no business.
Yep.
After listening to Mrs. Holliday demand that some sort of action be taken to solve the mystery of whatever was going on, Chief Marlowe made an agreement with the woman that himself and 3 deputies would stay at the house that night and keep watch over the property. If some vandals were behind the late-night noise-making and recent destruction of the barn, he assured her that they would catch them. So, when 8 p.m. rolled around, Marlowe and his 3 men arrived just as they said they would and set up camp in the dining room. Mrs. Holliday served the men coffee and brought them up to speed on everything that had been going on up to that point. When she had finished her retelling, she made the decision to retire to bed. Only she would not be sleeping in her room as usual. Instead, she'd be sleeping on a cot in the living room close to the action, so when the officers discovered who or what was causing the ruckus, she would be there to give them a piece of her mind. The night started off quiet, with nothing more to report than the sound of wind whipping across the frozen landscape outside. The temperature had dropped since the 4 men arrived, and it was currently registering below 0.
Oh, so cold.
As we call up in that area, normal winter. So if anyone was outside getting into mischief, they were obviously a fool. Well, I wouldn't call it that. We still manage to live in that at that time with -10 below every morning to school,
with a
1930s?
chill.
uphill both ways.
You managed to live in that time? So you lived in the 1930s in that weather?
Shh! Don't tell anybody I'm that old.
You a vampire?
He's almost 100.
Look good for my age.
Yes, you do.
So if anyone, with not much to do but wait, the chief and his deputies walked leisurely through the home, peering out the windows, enjoying the pot of coffee Mrs. Holliday had made them prior to returning in for the night. As the men kept watch, the old widow slept soundly on the cot in the living room. The Greens made not a sound from their room upstairs. The first hour passed by with nothing out of the ordinary. Then a second came and went just as uneventfully. The deputies were beginning to fall asleep at their posts, and Chief Marlowe started to think that whatever was bothering the 3 members of the old home had decided to leave them be. Content that the matter was now resolved, Chief Marlowe decided to follow in his men's footsteps and get a little bit of shut-eye.
No, you're there to stay awake.
But no sooner than he shut his eyes and tilted his head back when a bang loud enough and hard enough to shake the whole house slammed into the walls from the outside.
That's scary.
That is scary.
It's like getting hit by a truck. The 4 officers quickly jumped to their feet and ran to the windows on each of their respective sides of the house and peered out into the darkness. One man, obviously braver than the rest, grabbed his shotgun and ran outside, yelling for whoever was there to show themselves, but nobody came forward.
You know what this sounds like? The Bell Witch haunting.
Somewhat, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Because the banging on the outside of the house, running outside with a gun, like trying to figure out who it is, and nobody's there.
Yep. When the deputy returned back inside and alerted the chief, there were no signs that anyone had been there. The fresh fallen snow was unbroken, and there were no tracks indicating that neither automobile nor horse had visited the area since their arrival. Convinced there was logical explanation for the noise and movement of the house, the chief ordered all members of the home to gather in the living room and for the dwelling to be searched from top to bottom. As the deputies made their way through the home, Mrs. Holliday informed the chief that they would not find anyone because nobody was ever found during a search. And sure enough, the house was empty, besides those already accounted for. But still, the strange noises started to fill the home as they had done for so many nights prior.
Well, that's good. At least they have other witnesses.
Right?
Yes. 4 other witnesses.
Yeah.
With the belief still that the noises had a known source, Chief Marlowe stood in the center of the living room and began to proclaim to his 7-member audience what he thought was the cause of the late-night mischief. But not long after he started his speech, the intensity of the activity picked up. Without warning, a window that had been previously secured and checked by the deputies was smashed open without so much as an inkling to the cause. The sound of the breaking glass caused Mrs. Holliday to cry out for someone within range to save the goldfish, which lived in the bowl in front of the window.
Oh, poor goldfish.
But she was seconds too late, as the force of the window breaking caused the bowl to fall from its pedestal and smash on the ground.
Poor goldfish.
Hurry, get a bowl of water.
Right?
Throw it in.
As the widow and Chief Marlowe moved towards the area in which the goldfish had landed, they both took notice of something odd. The fishbowl was seen by everyone hitting the floor, but what wasn't found in the aftermath of the crash was any water or the fish that called the bowl home.
What?
So like it'd been emptied.
Yeah.
Exactly. Understandably confused by the lack of water and being present, and with everyone gathered slightly around the glass-strewn floor, each scanning the area for the missing fish, Patrick Green broke the quietude by asking a very simple question. Do you suppose it's ghosts after all? Almost immediately after uttering of those words, a series of booms as loud as thunder emanated from the floor above and shook the house below.
Jeez.
Chief Marlowe ordered his men upstairs to investigate the jarring sounds, but the 3 men stood firm in their place. With sounds continuing to fill the space around them, the deputies looked at one another with apprehensive eyes until a man stepped up for them all and said, "I guess we'll go home now because there's something about this house that isn't right. Nothing human came in here and shook the place and took the water and the goldfish. It's not anything for us to handle, Chief."
Well, yeah, what are they going to do?
I'm going to arrest
The
that
goldfish
ghost.
thief.
Right?
As Chief Merlot listened to the words spoken by his deputy, he took notice of the faces of the 3 members of the family. He couldn't just abandon them in their time of need, but he also realized that the situation was beginning to grow, well, out of his control, and his men were right. This wasn't something for them to handle, but made a vow to serve and protect the residents of Baraboo, so people needed whatever help they could get. So with the inner strength he could muster, the chief pushed aside his fear, puffed out his chest, turned to Mrs. Holliday and the Greens and said, "I am not afraid of any ghost that ever walked, and I'll stay here until..."
Boom.
Yeah. And then crash. The house shook suddenly to a point where nearly everyone inside fell to the floor.
Holy
Oh,
cow.
wow.
Chairs, other pieces of furniture were grabbed to help them rise back up to their feet before anyone could plant them firmly on the ground. Another crash, another giant jolt to the dwelling sent them back to the ground.
I want to experience something like that.
I mean, it would be a little intimidating, but yeah.
Oh, it'd be totally scary, but then afterwards you'd be like, "Oh, did you feel that?"
Like, I don't think I would want to see what could do that.
No.
Right?
You know what I
No.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, what in the world
Because
is
if
there?
It has that power. And
Well,
that
no kidding,
strength,
because the most thing we ever see is like something like little getting tipped over,
right?
and we think that that's amazing.
And some footsteps, and it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, so
Or like-
cool.
Or like,
Yeah.
"Did you hear that? That was so cool."
Right.
Or a board being thrown across a room. That was loud.
That
We heard that,
it
but
wasn't being thrown across the room. It was being
dragged or something?
Well, no, it was like
Slid.
slid across the wood flooring.
yeah.
Yeah, but that was loud.
Yeah, and that gal jumped in my arms.
Yeah,
Like,
she
was
did.
like,
I was so jealous.
"Woo!" She was like, yeah.
That was the coolest thing in the world.
It was a little freaky, but it was also kind of funny because the way she
Yeah.
acted was unexpected.
After the second crash, the house went silent again. The activity seemed to have gone, and the only sound which could be heard was that of the wind. The resulting mess caused by the internal thunder was promptly cleaned. Broken glass cups and dishes were placed in the bin, and the broken window was covered for the remainder of the night. Once again, Chief Merlot ordered a complete search of the house, both inside and out, but just as before, nothing was found, and the snow outside was undisturbed. Interesting, though, during the second sweep of the home, an odor reminiscent of a large grouping of farm animals began to fill the air.
Ew.
With a failed attempt at humor, and as a means to figure out the source of the animal smell, Chief Merlot asked Patrick how long they had been keeping chickens in the basement. Slightly perturbed by the question, the young man told the chief of police that regardless of what everyone in the area believed, the family owned no animals, no chickens, no large horses, no farmyard animals of any kind. The smell was a new mystery in an already long line that had been plaguing the family since moving in. Which, if you've been to a barn or an area where they keep cows and horses and
You
stuff,
know the smell.
yeah, it's an undeniable
Well, it's
smell.
unmistakable.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
You know what it smells like.
Yeah.
And it's hard to describe.
It stinks.
It does.
Makes me wonder, is it like a phantom elephant?
Well, see,
Like,
what I'm wondering too is when we go to haunted places, we'll often smell like cigarettes,
or
cigars,
cinnamon.
or cinnamon, or
Apples.
No, we're just told to go eat an apple.
Oh, that's right.
or we'll smell like potpourri, like old lady perfume.
Yep.
Yeah.
But to have it smell like a barn?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I'd much rather smell cigarette smoke, old lady potpourri than barn.
Barnyard. Yeah.
Yeah.
As the clock neared midnight, Chief Marlowe made the final decision to withdraw from the home and admit defeat. He told Mrs. Holliday, "If this keeps you, if this keeps up, you'll have to move." In response, the old widow told the chief that they would begin packing up as soon as the sun came up. With final goodbyes and good lucks, the four men put on their thick wool overcoats and headed outside into the bitter, cold Wisconsin night. But their sense of relief, as they thought of leaving, was short-lived. For when they got outside, they noticed that the chief's Buick sedan, their only source of transportation, was gone. Even though Chief Merlot had the keys in his pocket.
It was the goldfish.
It was the goldfish.
Or the phantom horse.
Yeah. I think it's the goldfish because the goldfish is missing. And he can hotwire.
That's right.
It was a goldfish.
It had still somehow managed to disappear from the front of the old house sometime between the deputies performing their last search and the four men leaving the house. Merlot, it was safe to say, officially had it with ghosts.
Now, did they ever find the car? And was it the goldfish?
Yes and no.
Okay, do tell.
The four public servants ran outside through the freshly fallen snow in search of the vehicle, but could find no sign of it. Convinced that it was not hidden somewhere around the house, they decided to run down the street and scan the area along the road. When they arrived, they began their search, but it wouldn't take long to find the missing motor vehicle, for there, at the top of the hill, sitting in a snowbank nearly a block away, was the chief's Buick. The vehicle's tire marks in the snow had indicated that it had been dragged uphill with its wheels locked in place. But what had managed to pull it up there remained a mystery, for no additional tracks were found. Not wanting to spend another minute outside and wanting to get away from the area as quickly as possible, the chief unlocked the vehicle and the four men filtered inside. With the key in the ignition, the vehicle started up just fine. No damage had come from its unexpected adventure and left the area quickly, disappearing into the darkness and gentle falling snow.
See, I tell you, if it wasn't the goldfish, which we've ruled that out.
Because it wasn't in the car when they found it.
It wasn't in the car, and the car was dragged, and obviously the goldfish doesn't have that kind of capability.
Oh, but it can drive, but it can't.
Exactly. That seems perfectly logical to me. But I'm telling you, it was a phantom elephant. It drug it.
It could have been a phantom horse.
It dragged the car. I think an elephant would be more capable. Cars back in those days were a lot
They were
heftier.
solid.
Yeah, they were a lot solid.
Like, not like today.
I mean, haven't you seen the Andy Griffith Show?
Right? But I mean, like, you sneeze today and you crumple your bumper.
Yeah.
Blow out your windshield.
When the sun began to rise that morning, Mrs. Holliday stayed true to her word. The three members of the family started packing up their belongings and proceeded to move out of the old house on 8th Street. The day was long and the boxes were plenty, but through sheer determination not to spend another night in the strange home, the trio somehow managed to completely move out and find accommodations in a boarding house on the other side of the Baraboo River, all before nightfall. Not long after, their previous residence was officially listed as vacant, and the strange noises inside were not heard by anyone in the area again.
Obviously, whatever it is causing the ruckus and dragging cars and all the things and taking goldfish and water. didn't want anybody in that house living there.
Yep.
Because as soon as they vacated, the neighbors quit hearing it too.
Exactly.
So whatever happened to that house? Does it say it all?
Oh, the story's not done.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Part 2.
Part 2. When they left and it went quiet, the residents located around the property were content once again. While the strange case involving Mrs. Holliday and the Greens is technically closed because the family moved out, Chief Merlot couldn't get the mysterious events out of his mind, and there had to be some sort of explanation, no matter how bizarre, to explain what he and everyone else inside had witnessed. So, with a resolution to officially solve the case, the chief of police set out looking into the history of the property and metaphorically digging up every stone he could find that might be able to help put the case to bed. But he wasn't able to look long because it appeared a new mystery had taken up residence on 8th Street. Only this time it wasn't affecting one family, but rather the kids who lived in proximity to the now vacant house.
Oh.
In the week following the relocation of the old widow and her daughter and son-in-law, Chief Merlot began to receive reports from the parents of children in the area who claimed to have not only seen, but also have been pursued by solid black mountainous shadows in the dark. Some children claimed it had the overall shape of a giant black dog. Others said it lumbered along and they could feel the ground tremble when it was near.
Ew.
One young boy, Richard Curran, who lived at 222 South Avenue, claimed that he saw the strange thing, and it was as big as a house.
Elephant.
That's what I've been saying.
The story spread so quickly and frightened the children in the area so badly, it wasn't long before the mothers in the area collectively decided that no longer were their children allowed to play in that part of town during the daytime or at night, for the fear of what they were seeing might actually be real.
Okay, wait. First, they said it was a dog,
A big dog.
but then they
lumbering
said
dog.
it's
Mountainous.
like
Mountainous.
the size of a house.
Mm-hmm. But if you're from that, Wisconsin, you're not automatically thinking it's an elephant. You're going to say something more logical, like it's a big, lumbering, huge dog, which would make sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I feel like it's an elephant.
Chief Merlot, now presented with two strange cases that no lawman ever expects, was beginning to think that the odd occurrences may somehow be one and the same. So with the information he gathered from Mrs. Holliday and the descriptions of things the children in the area had reported seeing, he went to work what he did best, investigating. And for the next few days, he did just that. The officer of the law spoke with residents who had called Baraboo home their entire life and knew the history of the area better than any book could provide. He looked into the history of the homes located, looked through all old records of past events where people claimed to have seen strange things in the area, and even looked into the histories of the circuses that once called this place home. When he felt that he had gotten everything he needed to officially solve the case, he made one phone call, and that was to Mrs. Holliday herself. When Rose Holliday answered the phone, Chief Merlot immediately asked her who her husband was and what he did for a living when he was alive. Slightly caught off guard by the question, Mrs. Holliday informed the chief that her husband, Michael Holliday, had been dead for 3 years by that point, but when he was alive, he was employed by the circus as the head elephant wrangler.
Ding, 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 ding.
He was responsible for breaking them and teaching them how to do the tricks that everyone paid to see. After receiving the answer, Chief Merlot officially had everything he needed to solve the case. He thanked the old woman and wished her the best, but not before making sure that she and her family were no longer being harassed by strange noises and unexplainable crashes. She confirmed everything was good and bid the police chief a pleasant farewell.
Wow.
Yeah.
That still does not explain the fish.
No.
You got 8. we got ate by the elephant when he drank the water.
Yeah. He was thirsty. He drank the water and sucked
Busted
the
the
fish with
window,
it.
busted the window out, put his trunk in the fishbowl, sucked everything up. And I know now, granted, I've never heard of a ghost drinking water.
Well, here's the thing. In my house growing up, we had a cup of water that we would stick next to the bathroom sink. And both my dad and I heard a cat drinking out of the glass. We heard the water being licked. So,
Well, and that's like after TC passed away. And, you know, we had the ceramic food bowls.
Yep.
And you know how when cats eat and they take a bite and they like shake and a piece of dry food flies out and goes tink on the ceramic bowl?
Yep.
I kept hearing that. And I was sitting on the couch and I looked directly at the bowl. There's no cat at the bowl.
But you can
Yeah.
hear it.
But you can hear it.
yeah, same.
I'm like,
It makes you
Dude.
wonder if food was actually disappearing, though. Or in this case, was
Well-
water disappearing? Like,
right. I have no explanation or, you know, who
yeah.
knows. But you hear the sounds. It's like they come
Yep.
to visit and they're doing what they would do when they were alive, eating, drinking, wandering
But
around
what
the
was
house.
interesting is in my case, I don't think because I had that cat since I was like 6.
Mhm.
And my cat was still alive.
Yeah.
We did have other cats previous to that,
Sure.
but none that stuck around
Right.
to have a glass of, because that's what the glass was for the cats to drink out of.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think we had any other cats that did that,
Yeah.
that were inside even to do that. So I don't know. It's wild.
Weird. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool,
It really
though.
makes you wonder if water was disappearing or not. Before I would say no, but now listening
Right.
to this, I'm like,
Maybe.
I wonder.
Because when a cat drinks water, generally speaking, you don't notice how much is gone
No, 'cause
until
it's so
time has
small.
passed.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
and same with like food. If you keep a whole bowl of food out of dry food,
Mm.
you don't notice if 4 or 5 little pellets are missing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
who knows?
So the question still is how did Chief Marlowe solve this mystery so quick? And then why was the last thing he needed a single phone call? So part of his investigation, he actually reached out to a gentleman by the name of Eric Miller. He was the head of Dwight Miller Construction. He was responsible for the construction of the majority homes on 8th Street. And so Mr. Miller sent Mr. Marlowe a letter. So in the letter, Mr. Miller stated that the house on 8th Street was built using reclaimed lumber from an old circus barn located on Water Street, just 1 mile south of 8th Street. This specific circus barn was originally used to train the 24 elephants owned by the Ringling Brothers
Stop.
Circus.
How freaking cool is that?
It came full circle.
Yep.
That's
And
awesome.
because, so his theory of all of this was that because her husband was a circus trainer and the house happened to be a reclaimed elephant barn,
Yeah.
that they were being haunted by an angry circus elephant
Or elephants.
or elephants.
I mean, if I was made to do tricks, I mean, I'm roughly the size of an elephant. If I was made to do tricks,
Stop.
I would be, you know, pardon my language, I'd be pretty pissed off too.
And I would say that now I don't know fully how accurate some of the stuff that I've seen is true, but it looked like the way they would treat these elephants was terrible and to get them to be trained.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that too, with like
Yeah.
the chains and
Right. And so, I mean, I think Dumbo was a pretty good showing of that because,
Yeah. I would say so.
and so that being the case, then yeah, like I could see the spiritual retribution happening.
Well, and think about it, where the wood came from,
Yep.
a barn that these animals were trained in and probably mistreated in. So there's a lot of that high emotion, I think, even from animals that can seep into things. And then you repurpose the wood for a house and it
Yep.
comes out, you know?
Yeah.
here's a thought. What if the animals put out all that energy that the wood absorbed
Mm-hmm.
and they come back and use that energy to create all of the paranormal experiences
And to destroy the barn.
and to destroy the barn.
Yeah, because that barn was toasted.
Yeah.
Like, is that a thing? Do you think that could be possible? Like, they
Well,
put out the energy while they're alive and then use that energy when they're dead to
that would indicate
create those paranormal experiences.
that it's not residual, it's intelligent.
This sounds intelligent,
It
though.
sounds
It
very
has to be,
intelligent.
because if it tears down the barn
And it comes and
slams
goes with
into
the people in it.
house, yeah,
Yeah.
and when the people leave, it stops.
And it moves
It moved
police car.
locations. Well, and it moved locations. It stopped, like, after the people moved out of the house, it then went to another home.
Yep.
And another area.
Yeah.
It's like the elephant's revenge.
Yep.
I don't blame them.
So this was supposed to be originally posted in a newspaper article, but was made famous in 1953 by being published in Fate magazine.
Okay.
So after this was posted in 1953, the whole town was inundated with psychics and mediums and
course.
paranormal investigators
Of
and
course.
everybody trying to get a piece of the action, of the elephant action.
Of course.
Well, one, it's a super rare thing to happen
Yes.
by a haunting by an animal.
Yeah.
And then two, America's not old.
No.
We are not old. We are
Compared to
very
other
young.
parts of this world, we're babies.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
not like there's going to be a ton of haunting things going on.
Yeah. And for something of that magnitude,
Oh, yeah.
it would attract a lot of people. I would go,
And it's not like
Right.
there's social media for
right?
Well, yeah, it's 53.
You have-
What more do you got going on?
Right? I mean, I would go. I really would.
It's such a,
100%. It would be entertainment.
it would be.
Yeah.
Something. I mean, as long as you weren't freaked out by it.
Well, I mean,
But it'd still be-
there's a little bit of that aspect, because you think of something as massive as an elephant, and then here's one that's like supernatural. Like, right, you don't see it coming or anything. And if it tore down a barn and drug a car, what could it do to you physically?
Right?
It makes
Squish
you,
you like an ant.
It makes you wonder.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, imagine that. Like in the Bell Witch, it was a big black dog.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying enough. Like seeing a dog in the dark or even during the day, an angry dog is terrifying. But imagine coming around the corner and there is a giant ghost elephant standing there, literally the size of a house.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the energy that sucker's giving off?
Oh, it's got to be massive.
Ugh.
But in the same token, though, too, like this is the town that these 24 elephants that the circus owned that had, they walked them around town.
Mm-hmm. And they paraded them on the streets, basically,
Yeah.
to learn how to do tricks.
And so, like, this was their home for the most part. And so, like, all of this, like, all of that energy has to be absorbed into the town itself.
Well, and it makes me wonder, because elephants live a long time.
Yes, they do.
They do.
And that was only 20 years later, right?
It was more
No,
now,
it
right?
was 50 years.
Yeah.
So wait.
It was
So-
1880 to 1930.
Okay, got you.
But still, you're right, though. In still the same sense, like, depending on the age of the elephant when they got them, they could have still been alive in 1930. But
Right.
more than likely, probably not.
So then they were probably buried somewhere out there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And elephants never forget.
That's right.
That's right.
But the moral of the story, I think, here is don't be cruel to animals, because they could come back and haunt you.
Tear
Drag
your barn down.
Tear your barn down.
Take your car.
Take your car. Squish you without even blinking.
Eat your goldfish.
Yep.
Could,
Actually, drink your goldfish.
could you imagine if it was a tiger, a ghost tiger?
Oh, dude, no. I don't know what would be worse. I think it would all be equally terrifying.
It's like, instead of getting like people getting like those 3 little scratches on
Yeah,
your skin,
3 little.
you have like
massive.
half your arm ripped off.
Yep, that was a ghost tiger.
That is something right out of a horror movie. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the growls out of that one?
Oh, jeez. No.
Just sitting in bed.
I would wet my bed.
In the house.
Terrible.
You get the hissing.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. And what's amazing is that is one story of a town that is completely haunted.
We need to go.
And then
And we'll cover those. We'll cover some more of those haunted locations in another podcast episode.
Yeah, we'll sprinkle them in.
Because they're amazing. This is one awesome haunted town. And for its size, it's still only like 20,000 people.
Yeah, it's not huge.
It's a little tiny town.
and all that ghost hunting. So fun.
Yeah.
Road trip.
All right, everybody. If you enjoyed the story of the ghost elephant, please like and subscribe. And as always, stay ghosty, my peeps.
Okay, pause real quick. My watch somehow clicked on to what you were saying, and it said, sorry, I didn't understand that. Boobs with the sound of thunder.
No, that's when I roll over at night and one goes.
Thunderclap. And so I was like, I was trying not to.
No, I saw you. I was like, oh, what's so funny?
Boobs with the sound of thunder.
That's great.
In response, the old widow.
The old widow.
The old whittle.
Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Cold Spot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research.